Anne Boleyn, the queen who reshaped the course of English history. The enigmatic rise of a queen. In the grand tapestry of English history, few figures are as captivating and polarizing as Anne Boleyn. Her ascent from the daughter of a courtier to the Queen of England was marked by ambition, intellect, and controversy. Anne's life and tragic demise not only altered the trajectory of the English monarchy, but also set into motion a religious transformation that would redefine the nation. To truly understand Anne Boleyn's impact, one must explore the intricate details of her life, the nuances that shaped her destiny and, consequently, the future of England. Early life and formative years. Birth and family background. Anne Boleyn was born around 1501, though some historians suggest dates ranging from 1500 to 1507 at either Blickling Hall in Norfolk or Hever Castle in Kent. She was the daughter of Sir Thomas Boleyn, a respected diplomat and courtier, and Lady Elizabeth Howard, daughter of Thomas Howard, the second Duke of Norfolk. This lineage placed Anne within the upper echelons of English nobility, providing her with opportunities that would later prove pivotal. Education and time abroad. Anne's early education was comprehensive, encompassing subjects befitting a lady of her standing, such as music, dance, embroidery, and languages. However, it was her time abroad that profoundly influenced her development. Around the age of 12, Anne was sent to the court of Margaret of Austria in the Netherlands. There she was exposed to the sophisticated Burgundian culture and received instruction in French, which she mastered fluently. In 1514, Anne moved to France to serve as a maid of honor to Queen Mary, the sister of Henry VIII, and later to Queen Claude, wife of Francis I. During her nearly 7-year stay, Anne immersed herself in the French Renaissance, absorbing its art, fashion, and courtly manners. She also became acquainted with the burgeoning ideas of religious reform that were circulating in France, planting seeds that would later influence her own views. Return to England and emergence at court. Entry into the English court. Anne returned to England in 1522, poised and polished from her continental experiences. She quickly secured a position as a lady-in-waiting to Queen Catherine of Aragon. Her wit, charm, and sophistication set her apart in the English court, making her a sought-after companion and catching the eye of many courtiers. Early romantic entanglements. Among Anne's early admirers was Henry Percy, the heir to the Earl of Northumberland. The two developed a deep affection and may have even become secretly betrothed. However, their relationship was thwarted by Cardinal Thomas Wolsey, likely acting on behalf of King Henry VIII, who had his own designs. Anne was also pursued by Thomas Wyatt, a poet and courtier who immortalized his feelings for her in his poetry. Despite these entanglements, Anne remained unwed, a rarity for a woman of her age and status. Capturing the king's attention. Initial courtship. By the mid-1520s, Anne had attracted the attention of King Henry VIII. Unlike her sister Mary Boleyn, who had been the king's mistress, Anne resisted his advances, refusing to become another of his conquests. Her refusal only intensified Henry's desire, leading him to pursue her with unwavering determination. The great matter seeking annulment. Henry's marriage to Catherine of Aragon had produced only one surviving child, Princess Mary, and no male heirs. Believing that his lack of a son was a divine punishment for marrying his brother's widow, Henry sought an annulment from Catherine. Anne's presence at court and his desire to marry her added urgency to this quest. The ensuing struggle to obtain the annulment, known as the King's Great Matter, would consume much of the 1520s and early 1530s. The road to queenship. Secret marriage and coronation. After years of fruitless negotiations with the Pope, Henry took matters into his own hands. He broke from the Roman Catholic Church, establishing the Church of England with himself as its supreme head. In January 1533, Henry and Anne were secretly married, and by June, Anne was crowned queen in a lavish ceremony at Westminster Abbey. Notably, she was crowned with St. Edward's crown, traditionally reserved for reigning monarchs, underscoring the significance of her position. Birth of Elizabeth and subsequent pregnancies. On September 7, 1533, Anne gave birth to a daughter, Elizabeth. While the birth of a female heir was a disappointment to Henry, he remained hopeful for a son. Anne's subsequent pregnancies ended in miscarriages, including a stillborn son in January 1536, which strained her relationship with the king and diminished her standing at court. Downfall and execution. Political and personal enemies. Anne's assertive nature and involvement in political and religious matters earned her numerous enemies. Thomas Cromwell, once an ally, became a formidable adversary due to policy disagreements. Additionally, Anne's failure to produce a male heir made her vulnerable to those seeking her downfall. Charges and arrest. In May 1536, Anne was arrested and charged with adultery, incest, and treason. The charges were likely fabricated, serving as a convenient means for Henry to dissolve their marriage and pursue Jane Seymour. Anne was tried by a jury of her peers, including her uncle, the Duke of Norfolk, who pronounced her guilty. Execution. On May 19, 1536, Anne was executed by a skilled French swordsman, a merciful concession granted by the king. Her final words were gracious, expressing loyalty to the king and acceptance of her fate. She was buried in an unmarked grave in the chapel of St. Peter ad Vincula, within the Tower of London. Legacy and impact. Religious transformation. Anne's marriage to Henry VIII was the catalyst for the English Reformation, leading to the establishment of the Church of England and the severance of ties with the Roman Catholic Church. This monumental shift altered the religious landscape of England and had lasting implications for the nation's identity. Mother of Elizabeth I. Anne's most enduring legacy is her daughter, Elizabeth I, who ascended the throne in 1558. Elizabeth's reign, known as the Elizabethan era, was marked by cultural flourishing, exploration, and the solidification of Protestantism in England. Anne's influence on Elizabeth was profound, shaping her into one of England's greatest monarchs. Cultural depictions and historiographical debates. Anne Boleyn has been the subject of countless biographies, novels, films, and television series. Interpretations of her character range from cunning seductress to tragic victim. Recent scholarship seeks to present a more nuanced view, acknowledging her intelligence, political acumen, and the complex circumstances that defined her life. The Queen remembered. Anne Boleyn's life was a tapestry woven with ambition, love, betrayal,